Tonight on NewsWatch.
A family opens up about how their daughter's opioid addiction has impacted their lives.
We call it detaching with love because we were becoming so sick.
A boy from Edmonton with severe disabilities struggles due to lack of government funding.
Who's a toddler in his head, who has huge medical issues.
A look at a historic and vibrant area in Edmonton and how it's changing.
They put these nice new street lights up that are brighter at nighttime.
NewsWatch starts now.
Man, we've been doing the same thing for 2 semesters now. We gotta mix it up.
Yeah, we weren't good at that at all. I think we gotta go to the streets, man.
I agree, let's do it.
All right. Fentanyl drug addiction can completely alter a person's life. But what about the people that are closest to them?
Parents of fentanyl addicts are often put in a tough situation between wanting to help their children and needing help themselves, as drug addiction often takes a toll on everybody. Our Kennedy Schmidt has more on this story.
It completely turned my world. I needed a minute when I heard it.
Susan and Steve Boone have been parents of a fentanyl addict for 3 years. It's a journey that has altered the way they live in every way, especially as parents.
You know, you have this newborn baby when you take your children home and you watch them breathing. You know, you sit there and you put your finger under their nose and you watch for their chest to rise and fall. And I'm doing this to my 22-year-old child.
The Boones say that although helping their daughter was instinctual, it started to consume their lives in a negative way. After realizing this wasn't a situation they could fix, they took a step back.
We call it detaching with love because we were becoming so sick mentally. We didn't want it to destroy our marriage, our family.
The Boones said that it wasn't easy to come to this realization, and it wasn't until they found themselves here at the Sherwood Park County Hall and met with a group called Parents Empowering Parents that they were able to get their lives back.
As a parent, if you've got a child using...
Parents Empowering Parents, also known as PEP, is a support group for parents of children addicted to drugs. It provides education and community for families dealing with addiction and substance abuse. The group aims to give life and hope back to parents where addiction has taken it away.
We named it Parents Empowering Parents so we could first and foremost concentrate on calming the parent and saying, take a breath. Now let's get you healthy. The more you talk about it and the more you bring it out, the better the chance you have of correcting it and healing and having improvement in the situation. There's nothing right about addiction. So we've got to get it out in the open. We've got to talk about it.
The Boones say talking about it has brought unity, hope, and wellness to their family, despite their daughter's addiction.
We have to be strong and we have to be healthy because one day we believe she will, make the decision and decide that, this just isn't working for her anymore. And the reality is maybe she won't get to that point, but we have to stay healthy.
Kennedy Schmidt, NewsWatch Extra.
Many families across Alberta are involved in youth disability government funding and have found difficulties in getting their children's needs met.
A local Edmonton boy diagnosed with a serious developmental disabilities is no stranger to that story. Our Dana Bradbury has more.
Meet Trey, a goofy, lovable 14-year-old boy standing over 6 feet tall who happened to be born with complications that impact his life every day. His grandma Sue has been by Trey's side since birth and has recently moved him into a home to live in. The process hasn't been easy.
Every day. He's this giant-sized boy who's a toddler in his head, who has huge medical issues, who's autistic, blind, and nonverbal. Because he is so dependently disabled, I'm never sure if things are okay with him or not. So, yes, the worry is real, and it's daily.
Trey's well-being isn't the only concern that Sue has for him. The government-funded programs can only spend a limited amount on expenses per family, so the rest is up to Sue.
The boosters are out of my pocket. I mean, a package of boosters lasts Trey 1.5 days. They're $10 a package.
Ooh, good spinning.
Sue recently put $30,000 into house renovations to ensure Trey will be safe at his new home. He is also in huge need for a power-assisted wheelchair so he can take part in community outings. Unfortunately, they are still waiting for the chair to be authorized by funding.
Because of who he is and how big he is, so that caregivers can actually take him into the park and to do some of those things. So he has some quality of life.
The sad truth to Trey's life is that his basic needs and happiness will always be determined by funding support. Sue already knows that as he becomes an adult, his fixed income won't cover nearly what his expenses cost. His diagnosis is rare and complicated, and it's uncertain where the extra money will come from.
Trying to plan ahead for him to ensure his needs are met sufficiently that he isn't neglected. Is huge for me.
Dana Bredbury, Nate NewsWatch.
We often spend so much time at NATE, we don't get a chance to see the booming community just down 118th out from us.
Alberta Avenue has had a bad reputation, but over the years, it's been getting a facelift. This guy right over here has more on that one.
From NATE all the way to the Northlands Coliseum, 118th Avenue, or as it's better known, Alberta Avenue, has always had a rich history of being one of the oldest streets in Edmonton. After falling on hard times, the avenue and its residents are in the middle of a revitalization. Longtime store owner Ryan Luxford has noticed the impact the changes have made.
They put these nice new street lights up that are brighter at nighttime. People are a lot more comfortable walking around at nighttime, which in turn, I suppose, brings the need for more businesses to be here, also wanting to stay open later, which is good. We're open until about 10 o'clock most nights.
The City of Edmonton started the Avenue Initiative back in 2006 with the goals of making the street safer for its residents, trying to build a stronger community life, bring in more diverse store owners, and improve the environmental well-being. The owners of the family-run Popular Bakery believe that even though the city is putting in work, it's the community that has to upkeep the overall well-being of the avenue.
And so what we've learned, like I used to be on the chair of the Alberta Ave Association, Business Association. So what was happening before in the years, like the kind of the decline years, 80s, 90s, 2000s, was that whenever there was like a meeting for the area, for the community, nobody would ever show up. So the area steadily kind of just decreased, right? So there was no input into the community.
Since the initiative started, the community has become more supportive in the efforts, and as a result, they have started to see more festivals and events taking over the avenue, not to mention the artwork that's been put on display to brighten up the area.
You feel a difference from 97?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes. It look nice, and I think it's better.
Just like the overall, I think the aesthetics of the Ave look better.
Yeah.
The Avenue Initiative has garnered a national award for its work in improving Canada through public policies and management, and was even named the #2 area in Edmonton for property investment back in 2015. There's still room for improvement though, as they look to improve the area near Wayne Gretzky Drive. For NATE NewsWatch, I'm Keegan Fleming.
Coming up after the break, we take a look at the evolving world of voice acting.
So you have a chance to become many different things as a voiceover artist.
And how some people are still seeking guidance from the spiritual world in a day and age surrounded by technology.
We're not just our name. It's, no, there's something else that's inside of ourselves that gives us the answers to that.
NewsWatch music provided by Martin Mayer Productions.
Whether they're in Edmonton, Calgary, or Leduc, voice actors are everywhere.
From behind the microphone to in the studio or online, We talked to some of the best voice actors in the industry. Our Truman 2 has more.
It's a love story that begins with the most unassuming of protagonists.
Michael Kryton is an established voice actor here in Edmonton, practicing for a read of a new book that is coming out.
Sorry. Let me do that again.
Kryton is demonstrating the narration part of being a voice actor, but through his perspective, the ability to portray multiple characters is what's the most appealing thing about his job.
In a world of voice, you can be many characters, and you can affect many attitudes and play out personalities and those kinds of things. So you have a chance to become many different things as a voiceover artist. Go?
Yep, go
ahead. Okay.
Of course, Production World is one of the many studios where one can do voice work. But there's also so many other studios that are in Alberta, such as the Calgarian digital studio Hermit Sherpa. Run by former anime dubbing talent Lucas Gilbertson, he says that his studio allows Albertan talent to collaborate with others internationally, whether it be with video games or with animations.
Starting Hermit Sherpa was to create more work for voice actors specifically, and then it also snowballs into I want to be able to make films and animation and video games and make our own apps. So it's kind of a thing where I provide work for artists as far away as Kuwait and Ohio and New York to kind of collaboratively work with Calgarian artists and voice actors.
You want another take? We can do another take.
Similarly at NAIT, students in the radio program learn how to work with equipment and software that is commonly used in the voiceover industry.
Now, according to Lucas Gilbertson, you don't always need a professional studio setup like the ones that we have at NAIT just to get started in voice acting. You could always homebrew your own studio.
The most important part is getting your foot in the door.
Start small. You don't need to buy the most expensive equipment in the beginning. You just need to begin, start recording yourself, get comfortable, read books out loud, read ads out loud, go to workshops. Keep in mind that if you want to do a lot of work of a specific type, you're going to have to go where the work is.
Regardless of talent in the industry, the one aspect of voice acting that Kryton emphasizes is that no matter what, being a voice actor doesn't always mean being a celebrity.
Wanting to be a famous or let's say in-demand voice actor as a goal is really not the goal, that's the derivative. The number one thing is to love it and to want to do it no matter what.
For NewsWatch Extra, I'm Truman 2.
In person. Yeah, I think that's good.
Whoa, man, watch it.
People are so focused on technology and having concrete evidence for their questions in life.
What about people who invest themselves on the spiritual side of things? Why do people still believe in psychics this day and age? Our Alicia Johnson has more on that one.
Psychics have been a part of our culture since the dawn of humanity. Throughout history, they have been known as prophets, healers, oracles, and even witches. In modern times, they have come to be known as psychic mediums. Psychic mediums are described as individuals able to channel messages between the earthly world and the world of spirits. But what is it about these gifts offered by psychics that have managed to capture the interests of people throughout generations? Cheyenne MacLellan has been working as a medium for over 4 years. She uses her gifts to connect with people on a deeper level than meets the eye.
Find their eyes, their face, and that's why actually my business is called A Look Within, is because of the eyes, looking in somebody's soul to see that, you know what, we're not just a face, we're not just a body, we're not just our name. There's something else that's inside of ourselves that gives us the answers to that.
Cheyenne feels the increase in her clients over the years is directly related to our interconnection with the world.
A lot of people are very sensitive to energy, like emotions, and the biggest things that are going on in the world right now. So I think a lot of it too is everybody's picking up on all of the natural disasters or the stuff going on in the States, things like that. The biggest thing here though is a lot of people aren't aware that they're connected that way.
But psychics aren't the only ones weighing in on how global issues can affect people's energies and emotions. Medical professionals are weighing in on how these issues can cause people to seek out guidance.
Right now, there is a lot of uncertainty in the world. I mean, we had a lot of upheaval, particularly in our neighbor to the south in the U.S. Lots of stuff going on, lots of uncertainty there, lots of uncertainty just in terms of geopolitics. I do think that people are looking for ways to make sense of this, some sense of comfort or assurance.
Dr. Ferentz believes that while our society is more interconnected than ever before, there is still a subconscious yearning for deeper meanings in our relationships.
I think the other issue that we're not quite aware of yet is that although we're more broadly connected, we're far less deeply connected than we've ever been as well. And so there is, I think, an unconscious yearning to connect with people on a one-to-one basis and to have deeper relationships. And when you go to see a psychic or your clergy person or, you know, a psychologist or whatever, you are getting a much deeper relationship than you would typically get in everyday interaction in life.
Regardless of how a person chooses to fill that void in their life, there are many different options for connecting based on an individual's belief system.
For some, boxing is just a form of entertainment, but for others, it's a way of life and a passion.
A local Edmonton boxer shares his experience of what it takes to be a pro boxer. Our Navi Bular has more on that.
Flavio Michel is a professional boxer from Edmonton and is a part of the welterweight division. He is training at the Kamikaze Punishment Foundation for his upcoming knockout boxing match. After dropping out of high school, Flavio Michel spent most of his times fighting on the streets. He says boxing really saved his life, helping him control both his anger and getting away from negative energy. He has competed in 3 out of 7 knockout matches and has a total of 5 wins and 2 losses.
I've been training all my life. I've been a sport guy. I was doing soccer before. Then I was into the football team, American football. So yeah, when I stopped going to high school, I was a lot on the street, so it was rough for me growing up. I used to fight a lot in the streets. One day I just decided to turn into boxing.
Knockout matches involve concussions and the possibility of serious injuries. Although Gasper Bonomo, a professional undefeated kickboxer, says there aren't that many dangers of boxing as long as you are following all the safety rules.
Proper safety procedures. When you spar, you wear proper headgear, and before you have your first fight or before you spar, you make sure you're in shape. If you're in shape and you wear proper safety equipment, like for instance the headgear, mouth guard, hand wraps, proper size gloves when you're sparring, 16-ounce gloves. That way you minimize the risk. And you get before you have your first competition, you get a full medical.
A lot of sacrifice is put into boxing, and the number one rule in boxing is to protect yourself at all times. For Michel, boxing is not just about throwing punches, but coming up with a game plan and making it successful. He's thankful he hasn't had any serious injuries, and the key to this, he says, is to think ahead of your opponent. Hit, don't get hit.
Work on your own time, and when you're in the gym, you gotta give 110%. Boxing is one of the hardest sports to make it. You really gotta work overtime.
Flavio Michel continues to train twice every day for his upcoming knockout match happening at the Shaw Conference Center on December 8. For NewsWatch, I'm Navi Buller.
Coming up after the break, how racing cars is about more than just speed.
And the stuff I was doing on the street and came to a professional track, and it's a good outlet, I find.
And international athletes at NATE weigh in on the pros and cons of pursuing their dreams away from home.
It was just kind of hard to get used to it.
You're watching NATE NewsWatch, the next generation of news.
You know, Ryan, for Edmontonians, they like to come down to Castrol here and catch some of the races during the summer.
Absolutely, Keegan. And whether it's drag racing, street racing, any kind of racing, people tend to forget that there's actually people behind the wheel. Our Truman 2 has more on that story.
Located out in the south part of Edmonton, the Castrol Raceway is home to a variety of racing styles. From drift racing to drag racing, it accommodates to racers of all ages. Some of them have it come naturally to them, like Chris Radisick, whose passion for cars brought him to the track without a second thought.
I've always been into cars, had fast street cars and stuff like that, and then basically didn't want to be doing the stuff I was doing on the street, and came to a professional track, and it's a good outlet, I find.
But like any good passion, it requires a lot of time and dedication. He says that his personal time goes out the window when working with these vehicles.
It's everything. I mean, this is what I do. I miss out on a lot of events and outings with friends or going out just to pursue what I do. You know, some people don't understand it, but it's we all have our own things, and this is mine.
But not every racer has 12 years of experience like Radisik. Newcomer competitors share just as much passion and determination as the veterans, such as Regan McCarter, who only started racing nearly a year ago.
Been a good first year for sure. Really good group of guys out here. Everyone helps everybody else, and it's been a good first experience.
With a fresh set of eyes into the world of racing, he knows the struggles of maintaining a good standing within the scene.
A really steep learning curve. There's a lot of fine skills that you need to learn. It's pretty quick. You can get out there, get your car sliding around, but to actually be competitive takes a lot of practice, and I'm in the practice stage right now.
Not only that, but there are multiple risks involved, with many severe ways of causing injury, especially those witnessed by veteran racers.
Basically the main thing is, yeah, you can go off track, you can flip your car, you can go into some of these concrete walls pretty hard, and you know, I've seen some pretty nasty crashes myself.
Despite all of these risks, Sager will continue on racing in Edmonton and plans on moving to the United States to further his passion. For NewsWatch Extra, I'm Truman 2.
International athletes come from all across the world to play right here at NAIT. Isn't that right, Keegan?
That's right. And for some, a Canadian education is a chance at a brighter future. But for others, leaving behind friends and family makes them question if it's all worth it. Our Dana Bradbury has more on that.
It's been 5 years since I've been in Canada.
Livia Luchova moved here from Slovakia 5 years ago to pursue her hockey dreams. While playing for the Slovakian national team, Luchova was scouted at a tournament in the U.S. by the Banff Academy Bears. But moving to Canada wasn't all that easy.
Probably maybe just English, because like before when I came here, it was just kind of hard to get used to it.
Luchova had 2 record-breaking seasons playing for the Bears before she made the decision to commit to the NAIT Ooks hockey team.
I don't know, I got a lot of offers from like another universities, but I chose NAIT just because like the school was it has like a really good name.
Going into her 4th season as an Ook, Luchova has had many successes on the ice with multiple top point seasons. She knows how much work to put in to be one of the best. Although hockey is her passion, she still makes time to keep her grades up. Even after 4 years balancing both, it's still a struggle.
The hockey schedule looks pretty busy. Usually have practices every day, and it depends on if we have additional training or not. So sometimes, yeah, it is hard to study and play hockey.
Sebastian Cava is a former international basketball player from Peru. He chose NAIT because of affordable tuition.
International students, if they commit to play for a sport here at NAIT, they have an international waiver. So it means they pay no international fees and they just pay like if they're Canadian. So I thought that was the biggest advantage of it.
Cava isn't the only international basketball player to wear a NAIT jersey. The Ooks acquired forward Samson Clear 4 seasons ago. After moving to the States from the Bahamas, Clear played 2 seasons in North Carolina before committing to the NAIT Ooks.
The coach called me immediately, and my other coach from other school that I went to in North Carolina, he actually talked to Mike Conley, our head coach, and I gave him the rundown about me. So after that was good to go.
The 6'7" basketball player is a force on the court. Although basketball is his passion, Clear knows his future is in the classroom.
It was a must that I finished school. Like me coming back to school is important to finish off my trade school. So
having international athletes at NAIT shows our commitment to diversity and giving athletes equal opportunities no matter where they call home. Dana Bradbury, NAIT Newswatch.
We live in a world where consumerism consumes our lives on a daily basis.
But people like Alana Kelly are living a lifestyle where less is more. Our Kennedy Schmidt has more details on that.
I think there was a breaking point of like just like stepping back and being like, what the heck? Why do we want or need all of this stuff? Like, why are we programmed this way? Yeah, it really was.
Alana Kelly is a self-proclaimed minimalist. Everything she owns fits in her 30-year-old fully camperized van that she affectionately calls Carl and also calls home.
Welcome to Carl. This is my van. It was really, really great to move into a smaller place where I can't actually have a bunch of crap and have to actually think about everything that I own. In a space that's this small, you have to consider every single one of your possessions. And when I first moved in, I was doing a thing where every day, every time I bought something, I would throw out 2 more things. And then I would like look at my possessions and be like, do I need this? Should I donate it or should I throw it out? And yeah, living with less is actually, it's great. It's freeing in a way.
Although the concept isn't new, minimalism is trending across North America. The movement has inspired many people to move into tiny homes, purge their closets, and donate their possessions. The idea behind this practice is that modern culture is consumed with the idea that more things will make for a better quality of life, whereas minimalism believes that these things are actually making our quality of life worse.
The pendulum has swung back, right? Before there was a lot of, especially in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot of what they call consumptuous or conspicuous consumption. And now we're looking at, okay, really does this add to my quality of life? How does this make me happy? And so a lot of people are figuring that out and they're saying, no, I'm only gonna have stuff that is actually meaningful to me and actually adds to my life.
I don't really understand the need for like massive lavish places and to like show off your wealth. Now that I've adopted this lifestyle, I don't really see myself going back.
Man, I'm not even kidding when I say that was so much better this time.
Oh yeah, best way to cap off another great season in Nate NewsWatch.
Absolutely, and thank you all for watching this season. You can catch another Nate NewsWatch season coming up real soon. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.